Do you have anything in this book about the Olmecs?
No, not really. I mentioned them briefly. I explored the Olmec mystery in considerable depth.
Could you explain that to people that maybe
in Fingerprints of the Gods? Yes. So it's considered to be the earliest high culture of Central America. Everybody's heard about the Aztecs. Everybody's heard about the Maya. But before the Aztecs and before the Maya, there were a culture who are referred to as the Olmecs. Again, we don't know what they called themselves. That's what the Aztecs called them. They called them the Olmecs, and it means the rubber people because that rubber producing area of Mexico. They worked in giant megalithic constructions. What they're most famous for is these huge carved human heads, which can be on a scale of up to 20 to 25 tons in weight, and which have curious features which have been interpreted variously as Polynesian, African, don't look like classic Native American features.
Keep that up.
But one of the things I've realized is that there is no classic Native American feature. That Native Americans are have a very complex genetic story with very many different elements brought into it, and we shouldn't be necessarily surprised by the supposedly non-Native American look of these Olmec heads.
What do we think those helmets were that they were wearing?
Nobody knows, because no physical example of such a helmet has ever been found, just like no physical example of an Egyptian pharaoh's crown has ever been found. All we see is the stone reproductions of them.
Do they universally wear these helmets in these stone reproductions?
They pretty much all wear these helmets in the Olmec stonework. There's another fascinating figure from La Venta, one of the Olmec sites, which is the earliest ever image of a plumed or feathered serpent. The feathered serpent is a famous icon in Central America. Quetzalcoatl, who's the god of peace, the bringer of civilization, who is associated, for example, with the famous pyramid of Kukulkan, which is just another name for Quetzalcoatl at Chichen Itza, where on the spring equinox a shadow effect creates the image of a serpent coiling down the stairway and joining with the carved head of the serpent. There's the image from La Venta. That's the earliest image of a plumed serpent in the Americas. And sitting in the middle of it, and I made a big deal out of this because I think it is a big deal in Magicians of the Gods, sitting in the middle of it is this human figure who's holding this strange bag in his hand. And it's just a fact that those identical bags are found in ancient Sumer in the hands of individuals who were considered to be civilization bringers, and they also show up on Pillar 43 at Göbekli Tepe. I call them man bags. And in that case, at Göbekli Tepe, we know they're at least 11,600 years old. So I wonder if we're looking at a sort of badge of office of a group of civilizers who traveled around the world trying to bring back to life a lost.
When I interrupted you to talk about Quetzalcoatl, what were you about to say?
I can't remember.
Oh.
I'm in California. I've been smoking lots of dope, you know.
We were talking about different things in the Amazon. Should we rewind and figure out what we said?
Yeah, the serpent god you were talking about.
Before Quetzalcoatl, before that. I have another question. The Olmecs, you were talking about the genetics of these people that live in Native Americans, that they vary widely. But the Olmecs seem to have very similar features, the thick lips, the wide noses. Why do we think that is?
Well, this is part of a curious mystery that is not unconnected to the genetic mystery. It's been known by archaeologists for quite a long time that there are anomalous skulls in parts of Brazil, which appear to show very strongly Polynesian or African features, very much like the features that we see on the Olmec heads. And a number of archaeologists who got into trouble with their colleagues for this have used that to argue many years ago, 30, 40 years ago, that the settlement story of the Americas is much more complicated than we've realized. And what the DNA is doing is it's telling us that there was something really weird happened with settlement. You see, what happened with those African or Polynesian-looking skulls was that they were tested for DNA when DNA technology was not as advanced as it is today. And what that DNA showed was that they were more closely related to modern Native Americans than they are to any other people in the world. So the notion that there was some connection with Polynesia or Africa was dismissed. But now that we have very firm evidence of an Australasian genetic signal, Australian Aborigines, Papua New Guinea, Melanesians, with those kind of features, now that we have the genetic evidence that is found in the Amazon, we have to go back to that old evidence and reconsider it.
Wow. Yeah, I would love to find out what that is. They've always fascinated me. The Olmecs, it's always been such a strange image, the large heads with the helmets on them, and how do they universally look like that? I mean, all
of the features are very, very similar.
Wow.
They're very, very, very similar.
And always with the helmets.
And almost always. I won't claim that every single Olmec head has a helmet of it, because I think I've seen one that didn't. It's quite a while ago since I explored the Olmec area. But what's fascinating about them is they are supposedly the first high civilization of Central America, that they create structures on a massive scale, that you can see connections between them and the later Maya. That whole mystery of the Mayan calendar was clearly inherited from the Olmecs. It wasn't something the Maya made up. The Olmecs used that same symbolism. So the Mayan calendar is actually an Olmec calendar. And if we then consider the possibility that the Olmecs may just be the latest, the earliest surviving manifestation of that calendar, it could go back much further than that.
That's what happens.
I think I need some of those pills you sell.
Need testosterone.
Yeah.
You need some TRT.
Is that legal?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I think I need some of that. I need some energy
definitely
too.
Need some of that.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been on that shit for 10 years.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
they make it a bunch of different ways now too. They were making a spray for a while, like it was like under the tongue. You could like put drops in, and then I don't know if they're doing that anymore. But they have a cream. The cream is good, but if you hug people, it gets on them. It's weird.
Wait, where do you rub it on you?
You rub it on your chest or your arms. So if you have sex with your wife, your wife might grow a mustache. Would be fucking very strange. That would be like a really creepy way if you were like really into dudes, but you were married to a woman. You're like, how do I bridge this gap?
Yeah,
just right. Like I'm on TRT, and you would rub it all over your chest, and immediately get it on her, and she'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Give her protein shakes, make her go to the gym a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, honey, you look good with short hair.
Put her under stress too, make her work more. That's something that happens with women. Apparently, there was a study on career women, and they don't know if it's a correlation or causation thing, because maybe the reason why they were career women in the first place is because they had a lot of testosterone. But they would notice that women have to fend for themselves. Women have to take care of themselves. They generally have more testosterone.
Interesting.
Yeah, which makes sense. But it doesn't. You never know. Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Is that like who they are, or are they developing more testosterone because they have to be out there competing?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I remember I was I used Rogaine for a while. I got approached by my agent, and he goes, you got an offer to do a series of commercials. I said, for what? And he goes, Rogaine. I go, but my hair's not thinning. And he's like, yeah. So it's 5 commercials. I was in denial about it. I was like 29, and I guess I was starting to crown a little bit, but I didn't notice. And so he goes, do you want to do it? And I was like, I don't know. I'm about to move out to L.A. I want to maybe do some acting. I don't want to be seen maybe on TV as the Rogaine guy. And he's like, I talked to them, and they said it's going to be on like ESPN4 at 2 a.m. Don't worry about it.
Whatever.
And I go, all right, fuck it. I'm moving to LA. I got no money. I'll do it. I'll get health insurance out of it. I'm about to get married. So I record the commercials, and the tagline is, it's me in a pharmacy, and I'm looking at a bottle, and it's minoxidil 5. They just jacked it up from 3 to 5. And I go, 4 out of 5. The voiceover goes, 4 out of 5 doctors say this will work. And then I look at the camera and I go, 4 out of 5. I like my chances.
Oh Jesus!
So
There you are.
So I do it. I do it, and then there's that guy.
I like the nod. You're like, yeah, this is legit.
So so all of a sudden it starts running. It runs during the fucking playoffs, March Madness. Every guy I've ever met was calling me and going, I'm walking down the street, I like my chances. It was everywhere.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so they gave me a fucking supply for years, and I was using it, and my wife wouldn't let me cuddle with her because you put it on your head at the end of before you go to bed. You cuddle up next to her and she get fucking hair on her neck. And it made you all greasy. My pillows were all greasy, and all it really grew was like a fuzz.
Yeah.
Did you ever try that shit?
Yeah, I tried that shit. I tried everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I'd shaved my head way earlier. It's so easy.
I think I'm going to do it tomorrow for the first time in my life.
Once I shaved my head, I was like, why am I fucking around with all this hair?
Yeah.
If I had a full head of hair, I'd shave my fucking head. I'd shave my head like every 2 weeks. I just let it grow to stubble and then shave it down again. Let it grow to stubble. It's so much easier.
How often do you shave it?
Every couple days.
You take a razor and shaving cream?
Like,
oh, you just use a buzzer?
Yeah, easy. I have one that has like, it's made for shaving your head. It's got like a handle on it. It's like an electric razor, just wah, 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 so you don't miss any spots.
How long does it take?
A couple minutes. It's easy.
Feel good?
Yeah, it's great. I don't have to think about it. That's what I like. I don't think about this. I used to worry about my hair when my hair was falling out. When something's out of your control. For people who have a full head of hair, they really don't understand this. When you start losing your hair, young Jamie, son of a bitch, when you start losing your hair, you just go, oh my God, like there's nothing I can do about this. Mm-hmm. This is terrible. Like there's nothing you can do. And then you look at it like these fucking guys, like some guys that are like gross looking bald dudes, and you're like, oh my God, they used to be a kid.
Yeah.
They used to be just like me. And then one day it all fucking fell out. And they were this gross dude with the horseshoe around the bottom of the head. Like, what the fuck? That's what I'm going to be? And once you shave your head, like for me, I got lucky. I have a good shape. It's got to be very difficult when you're in business with someone like that, especially like an executive, some slick character in a fine suit, to find out exactly what his real motives really are.
They're never in fine suits.
Never?
Never.
How do they dress?
In appalling suits.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, business does never encourage fine suits.
No pocket squares?
Occasionally you find a token pocket square, but you can tell their heart's not in it. The wife stuck it in there because she saw someone on TV that had a bit of razzle-dazzle about them, and they thought, oh, I quite fancy my old man wearing one of them, and they sort of stick it in. The old man's a bit embarrassed about it and tries to squeeze it out of the way. Suits are a thing. The death of the suit, it was the death of the suit, was the prosaic attitude toward, I'm going to work, and I've got to wear a suit.
Yeah.
And I've got to put a tie on, and I don't want to stick out.
That's how I feel.
But that's what's happened. We've been brainwashed to not dress like gentlemen.
But I see a guy like you, and I say, that's appealing. Like, look how you're dressed. And you're in a conservative suit. This is a nice suit. Like, I'm sure you could wear any suit you wanted, but you chose a suit that has a certain look to it.
Yeah, I have spent some time arsing around with this, Joe, but a bit like the same reason that we've spent time arsing around with the old pocket square. I remember thinking how much I found the suit repugnant, and I became angry that the suit had been robbed from us. And so I had to create an alibi, a way in, to understand why it is that I'd like a suit. This was the magic of Ralph Lauren. The magic of Ralph Lauren, nice Jewish boy from New York called Lipschitz, created a waspy empire. There's a wonderful expression that, think Yiddish, dress British. And Ralph Lauren created this great empire and resold the waspy world back to the waspy world. Oh, you actually not to the waspy world, because in England there was a sort of resentment about Savile Row traditional tailoring because it had been robbed from them. The offices had come along, the number crunchers had come along, and there was no creativity in the suit. A suit needs to be creative. The person that puts it on can't be putting it on because he's told to put it on. He's got to want to put it on. So what Ralph did is he fashioned up this sort of quasi-New England world and sold. He took on a trope, he took on a cliche, and he refashioned that cliche to give it a new sense of life, a new sense of breadth. He put black people in the suits where traditionally it was just a white man's suit. He made it feel new, he gave it a take. So what he did is he tipped his hat at the old world, but also tipped his hat at the new world. And it allowed wasps to find their way back into the world with an eloquent narrative. It was clever.
Do you like sit down and write your stand-up, or do you just like have ideas and work them out on stage?
A little bit of both. Yeah, I'll write some and then just have some ideas. Here's my COVID game show idea. It's you get 4 people, line them up, put masks on them, and it's a game show called Who Said That? Because everybody got a mask on, you know. Who said that? And then my other one is a bad joke. You got to get these out your system before you hit it. Now as everybody's wearing masks, the bank robbers got to write robber on his mask.
You've been spending a lot of time alone. This is strange.
Folks, COVID is crazy.
What is this obsession with becoming a game show host that you have in your special?
It's not an obsession. It's just
Trust me, I've done it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
It's not an obsession. It's just kind of that's the career path.
Yeah.
That happens, and I have been offered a lot of game shows, and I say not yet.
They come with a large cheddar.
Yeah, they haven't made it undeniable for me on the game show side yet.
If I was in the same position I was when I took Fear Factor, I'd take it again because it changed my life. Gave me freedom, like real freedom. But it's a job. There's a big difference between doing that and doing stand-up. When you do stand-up, you're having fun. Mm-hmm. When you're doing Fear Factor, sometimes you're having fun, but it's a job. You're working. It was a great job. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. That's
Very
why
thankful.
I think on the game show side, I really just got to put my energy into Who Said That, the COVID game show.
What if Steve Harvey retires from Family Feud? That's an easy one. I would do Family Feud.
I wouldn't do Family Feud.
It's an easy one.
No.
It's an easy one. Survey says.
Yeah.
I remember back when Richard Dawkins
Then
hosted
you
it.
in the airport and just people asking you random shit.
Good point.
Ding!
Good point. Good
and
point.
then they just,
What
you
about
gotta.
Drew Carey's got Prices Right? That's an easy one.
It looks easy. I don't think it's for me. I enjoy some of them, but just me and what I think I as a regular gig, I gotta be the one creating it.
The thing about the Drew Carey
who
thing,
said
though,
that?
Drew Carey seems like he's
4
just
masks.
stacking money. He's stacking money and no one even knows about it.
Well, Pat Sajak. Wheel of Fortune's been on for my entire life.
Right, but Pat Sajak's not a comic.
What did he do before Wheel of Fortune?
He didn't do anything. He was born on the set. He grew up there. He's been doing that forever. He's not a comic, though. Maybe he was at one point in time. Maybe. I don't think so, though. He's not a comic. Have you ever heard of Pat Sajak
He was
doing?
a former weatherman and talk show host.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so he hit the jackpot. But who else? What other comics have done game shows? Howie Mandel.
Howie.
He's done a gang of them, right? He had that one, Deal or No Deal. He had more than one, right?
And he did. That was Deal or No. That was Deal or No Deal. I was thinking of something else.
Deal or No Deal was a winner. Like, why did they ever stop that show?
I think they might. Well, not live now. But I think they were still they were touring it. I think. I don't know if it's. I mean, it moved to CNBC instead of primetime TV. It's still being produced all the time. Like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is still on TV.
See, I don't think I've quite sold you on Who Said That. So let's really dive into the concept.
Okay, 4 people wearing
Four
masks.
people wearing masks.
Yeah.
Somebody says something.
I would like it if one of them was COVID positive.
One of them COVID positive.
Yeah.
Why?
Just for the fuck of it.
Just for the
Up
fuck
the
of-
stakes. That's
Just
season
up the-
3 when
Hey.
people get bored.
Yeah, season 3. Season 3 arc COVID. And then once somebody says something, but it's not much movement,
Right.
and
You
then
gotta
you
guess.
gotta just guess.
Yeah, you got to
Who
guess.
said that? 30-second episodes. You shoot 500 of them in a day.
It's on YouTube. Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
Who said that? Was it him? Who said that? Was it Tim? Was it Jim?
Jesus Christ. How high did you get before you came here?
No, this is me, man.
CBD. It's the Killcliff CBD. These are good, right? Very addictive.
He's a smooth. He's
Good
a
for
smooth.
you. Yeah. I'm addicted to these. That actually is not a bad idea for a show. As long as they didn't, you could guess. And especially if it's like they said things that were like closely related to what they did. Like maybe you can ask them what they did, like and then figure out who would say what.
I think keeping it simple and quick for these short attention spans. Like, and then maybe that's somebody that becomes a legend on the show. And they just kind of, it's somebody, and maybe it's scripted, maybe it's real, but it's somebody that say, who said that? And they're like, boom. And they say, whoa, that was fast.
They just know.
This episode's over. Intro's longer than the episode. Intro's 15 seconds, episode 4 seconds. Now,
Let me
move
know.
on.
Let me know how this sells.
I'm gonna,
Take it out.
I'm gonna take it out onto the video conferencing circuit. Just different, do some meetings.
I mean, that's a real thought. With imagine being a guy like Harvey Weinstein, who was doing this for so long, getting away with all this fucked up shit for so long. And all of a sudden-
Supported, by the way.
Support. I mean, he had a clause in his contract detailing what would happen for the first case of sexual harassment, second case, third
Supported.
case in the contract.
So why aren't they up? Why
Imagine.
aren't the people that support him up?
Hey,
Huh?
Cheeto, I'd love you to join my podcast network. I'm thinking about promoting you.
I'm in.
I just think you're a great guy. You're a funny guy. You're
Dope.
a talented guy.
Dope.
But I think you might be a raper. So what I want to
What?
put is the first rape, I'm going to charge you this much.
Okay.
The second, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
Imagine the first sexual harassment is like got a figure, and the second one, a lawsuit has another figure, a double the figure.
They're like,
And then
3
he keeps
strikes, you're
getting-
out.
But it's not something he can't afford.
No?
It's like $250, $500,000. He's like a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's Harvey Weinstein.
He goes, fine.
He made Pulp Fiction. He's like, yeah, I'll clear it up. I'll clear it up. He's eating food while they're talking. It's fucking crumbs all down his face.
Yeah,
He's-
I'll take
he's
care of those
jerking
numbers.
off. He's jerking off while they're talking. He's just a glutton. He's just a glutton.
A filthy, fat fucking glutton.
You can't make a better case for a glutton than that guy.
He's a metaphor for the business, by the way. All consuming, taking, right?
And the looks, too.
He's
And he would ruin what's beautiful.
Right.
Like, take what's beautiful.
He
and
broke
fuck
pretty
its
things.
Mouth. With his fat gut resting on their forehead.
he ruined pretty things.
Yeah.
He
It's
fucked up
horrible.
pretty things.
Horrible.
Fuck that guy.
But
Fuck
it's
that
interesting
guy.
because like that is a villain in a movie. He's a villain in a movie.
Yes, it's like a bad Dick Tracy character.
Well,
you know,
not a little more modern. He's a villain
more.
in a fucking Harvey Weinstein movie is what he is.
Oh yeah, someone will make that film.
He's a villain but he's a villain in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Right.
If there was a guy who was doing dark shit and then one of the girls winds up in like some kick-ass female character winds up shooting him and killing him, like Hannah, what the fuck's her name?
Who?
The woman who's in Kill Bill, not Uma Thurman, but the Daryl Hannah.
Daryl-
Daryl Hannah.
yeah, Daryl
like if
Hannah.
Daryl Hannah winds up killing him,
Tight.
like kills him with a brick. Boom, boom.
Bust his fucking head open.
Yeah, like Patricia Arquette when she killed Tony Soprano.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
Right? Like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit was dope.
Fuck yeah.
Shit
But that
was
was
dope.
perfect. He was the perfect character. That Tony Soprano character that she killed when James Gandolfini in True Romance, when was it Patricia Arquette?
Yeah,
Which
that's
Arquette
right.
was
Isn't
it?
it
There's
Patricia-
two Arquettes.
Well, no.
What's the other Arquette? There's two Arquettes.
No. Patricia Arquette.
It was Patricia.
David and
there was
Patricia, but this-
no, there's a girl. There's another girl.
There it is. Am I tripping?
No, there is. Don't you shake your head, bitch.
there was.
Don't you think she's dead?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Which one? You
Wait,
sure? Bro, you better not be wrong, 'cause that's even worse. it's bad if you miss it.
She's not dead. No.
Oh, Jamie!
Fucked up, Jamie.
Jamie!
Rosanna.
Rosanna Arquette.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
She's been in a gang of movies too. She was in Pulp Fiction.
Was
Rosanna
she?
Yes. Rosanna Arquette was in Pulp Fiction. She was wasn't she one of the chick? She was a part of like when the
girl
Vinnie Barbarino had to overdose. The girl
The overdose. Yeah,
John
that was her.
Travolta had to
That's
help
right.
her.
That was her.
They had to help her. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was her. That she was helping Uma Thurman.
She was the girl that had shit all over her face, as he said.
Did she?
And so he goes, your wife has shit all over. He goes, who's the girl with the shit all over her face? And he goes, that's my wife. And he's like, oh shit.
Were they like piercings or something?
Yeah.
What was it?
She had piercings.
Right? Wasn't that it? Right? He goes, how's the chick with shit all over her
Yeah,
face?
there
And
she
then,
is.
and then he goes, that's my fucking wife, man.
What a movie, man. What a fucking movie. Anyway,
Easily one of the best films ever made. Always.
Amazing movie. But Patricia Arquette in True Romance,
Right.
when she killed James Gandolfini, like she's killing the glutton. She's killing the big, disgusting
Yeah.
asshole man.
Yeah.
That big asshole, shitty man who doesn't
Yeah.
give a fuck about women, and he's gonna kill her. But she fucking kills him, and you're like, yes,
Yes.
She's got
Yeah.
blood coming down her face. It's crazy.
Shit is dope.
That's a great fucking scene.
That
Great
is.
movie. There's a lot of people out there that profess to be Christians. They profess to be whatever their denomination is, whatever their religion is, but they don't necessarily live it. Like you abandoned your beautiful house and moved into one of these tiny homes in this homeless community. And then when we went and toured the community and got to see how you interact with everybody, it's beautiful. It's really very extraordinary. And I don't think there's very many people that would do that, what you've done. You live with them, you feed them, they have all these activities, different things to do, different ways to make a living. There's all these people that are extraordinary artists. It's really amazing, impressive art that some of these unfortunate souls, they have all this creative ability, but they just have nowhere to put it, nothing to do, and no hope, and no understanding of how to get out of this. And no one around them is getting out of it either, and they're sort of trapped. And then you come along and you find great value in these people, and they find incredible value in this community that you've created. And the community is constantly expanding. While we were there, you were showing us about this new area that you guys are developing where you're going to expand it. It's really amazing stuff because it's an example of someone who's actually doing it. You're actually living that life. You're actually contributing in an incredibly positive way to all those different human beings, the hundreds of different human beings that you encounter with this, and how much you've shaped and changed their lives. It's very beautiful. It really is.
Well, the interesting thing is that how they have shaped my life, and that's where the miracle sits. And when you drive around Austin or you drive around L.A., where you came from, and or any city in the United States, and you see this catastrophe that's unfolded on our streets of all of our urban cities. It appears to be hopeless. It's just a mess. And what we want to do is be able to bring people into our village and let them see that there is hope, unbelievable hope, if we do this right. If we get our act together as a civil society and begin to do things for people, when we begin to learn, and how I like to describe this is, I say to people, and people will, they've got this stereotype of the men and women out there. They're dope addicts, they're alcoholics, they're mentally ill, they've chosen this, they're lazy. And I said, look, and imagine being a 12-year-old little boy or girl. You're laying in bed at night, and you're in that twilight area between being asleep and awake. You're looking out the window at the starry, starry night. You're dreaming about what you're going to be when you grow up. I can tell you that my dreams at 12 were three things. One, I wanted to be a rock star.
Did you really?
Sure. Played guitar, had a Fender Mustang, was in a band, remember playing the song Bad by Cream, I think, Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce deal. Football, I played football, was a moderately decent football player at one time, thought I could play in the NFL. You've seen my DNA. You realize that that was never possible, but it was still a dream. And then I wanted to be a jet fighter pilot.
Wow.
And what's amazing is I'm 68 years old today, and if I'm driving and I've got AC/DC cranking in the car. Guess who is on stage playing that guitar and singing that song? It's not Angus Young or Bon Scott or Brian Johnson. It's Alan Graham doing that. Or if I'm watching a great football game, and I see somebody throw a great pass or do a great block or a hit or something like that, I go back in time. Or if I see a F-22 screaming across the sky, I still dream today. And I tell people one of my favorite smells on the face of the planet is burning jet fuel. I love being on airports. I became a private pilot. I don't fly now, but many years ago. So the embers of those little boy and girl dreams are still inside of us. You had them. I don't know what they were at that time. And then somebody came in and poured fuel on top of those little boy Joe Rogan dreams that now have you, because you couldn't be laying in bed at night going, "Hey man, I'm dreaming of doing the Joe Rogan Experience thing." That wasn't on the plate.
This thing was never on the plate. I don't know what happened with
No,
this
that's
thing.
exactly. But somebody was fueling whatever your dreams were along the way until you got to the dream that the world needed you to be in. And for these men and women who lost their family completely and nobody there to pour fuel on those embers that were burning, that's really what we're doing. So when you come into our art house like you did and you see the artwork that's being produced, the Van Goghs that are being produced by men and women that are on the street, we as a society are missing out. And yeah, look, we got the crack addicts and the glue sniffers and the prostitutes and the convicted felons. All that comes with the package.
Yeah. How do you do that to make it safe for the other people there? Like if you do have the bank robbers and all the people that live a dangerous life and they find themselves homeless, and how do you screen those people out? Like what do you do?
We do very little screening. We want to know who you are, but it's a very low barrier entry to get into our deal. We demand civil obedience. I will tell you that over the course of my life, I have personally known thousands of dope addicts and alcoholics. Most of them are just good people.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I think that's the case with all people. I think most people are good people, but we are we gravitate so much to elevated threat levels that we concentrate on the bad people all the time. It's like the news, right? The news doesn't show you all the news. It shows you what's scary. There's a lot of beautiful things that are happening all the time that the news never highlights. The news just gets you freaked out about global warming, nuclear war, economic collapse. Is that really Biden or is that a guy in a Biden suit? Whatever it is. It's just more crazy things that get you freaked out. But the majority of your interactions with other people, the majority of your experiences with people are pretty positive for the most part, even considering all this stress that everybody's under all the time. Bills that can't be paid, relationships that suck, jobs that you got fired from, all these different things, hopes and dreams that are crushed, flat tire, bad transmission. Fuck. Most people are good. Most people. That's why you can go on the highway and everybody, for the most part, is doing what they're supposed to do.
Working together, man.
Yeah, when someone doesn't, it's like, look at this asshole fucking driving like an asshole. But for the most part, the vast majority of people are letting you into the lane. They're all pretty much adhering close to the speed limit.
Well, here are the numbers. 400 formerly chronically homeless men and women living in our community. Average time on the streets is 9 years. At any given time, 15 to 20 are giving us a run for the money. 380 to 85 are just fine.
When you say giving us a run for the money, like what's the worst case scenario?
Well, they're bringing, most everything that happens negatively out there is going to be related to dope and alcohol. So you may have the on-site dope dealer that we got to manage and figure out how to either tone that down or get them out of there, that kind of thing. The really aggressive meth or crack cocaine addicts are going to be stealing somebody's bicycle or debit card to go buy, something. Or sometimes we have the confluence of a profound mental health issue and drugs coming at the same time, and they'll get destructive on their property. Those kind of things. It's the reality of the whole world that we live in a microcosm there at the Community First Village.
And it's probably similar numbers.
Yeah, well, it's that's right. You look, we go everywhere every day, all the time, and we're safe. Mm-hmm. We live a great life.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
It's just these threat things that people concentrate on. That that we're engineered to try to stay alive. And that's what our DNA is all about. Like, if you want to procreate, if you want to carry on your genetics, you want to keep your loved ones alive, you got to stay alive. Yeah. And so there's this fear, this constant fear, and it's crippling, and because it's projected both by the mainstream media and it's projected by social media algorithms. The things that you interact with the most, the things that freak you out the most or anger you the most are oftentimes the ones you see the most because you interact with those, and it's designed to keep you hooked.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what that's doing is it's making us anxiety-ridden freaks.
Yeah.
And we're losing our understanding of humanity. It's also extremely polarizing. Man, we had a conversation about this at your place. The news today is like it's so polarizing. It's us versus them inside our country for like the first time in my life. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, my parents were very liberal, and they never talked disparagingly about conservative people or Republicans. They just thought they were wrong. That's all it was. Like, they had conservative friends. They would sit at the dinner table and have conversations about stuff, and maybe they'd argue. But it was always fine. It was just two human beings disagreeing on things. Now it's like everybody's a Nazi or everybody's a communist. It's like it's just one side is absolutely sure that they're right and the other side is absolutely sure that they're right. And it's just accentuated by everything we see. So when you can see someone like yourself in a microcosm put this together and make a real community of some of the most disparaged members of our society, the people that know you look when they're trying to get money at the stoplight, you look away, you drive past them in their tents, Jesus Christ, what's that guy doing in there? You don't even think about them. The same type of person that might see someone with a flat tire and pull over. Like, hey, buddy, you all right? Can I help you? Because you're me. I'm you. We're at the same sort of stratus in society. We're acceptable members of society with cars and homes and normal people with jobs. So I'll help you. But that guy over there, like...
Well, this is what we have to... when you look at the purpose of Mobile Loaves and Fishes, our vision statement, the thing that drives our organization is that we empower communities into a lifestyle of service with the homeless, not to and for, with the homeless. This, metaphorically, is the same thing as pulling over and helping the guy change the flat tire. There's a guy on your street corner and up underneath that bridge that you pass every day. Can we pull over and help them change that flat tire? That's what this is all about, because the government, we have to quit yelling at the mayor and the city council to go and fix this problem. This is what we do, okay? We need government to come alongside of us to do this, but look, this is a human issue, and the government is not coming into your bedroom tonight to tuck you in. We need a human-to-human, heart-to-heart connection between people who are broken and battered and come from a trauma background that you and a battlefield background that you and I can't even begin to understand.
Yeah, that's the main thing, right? People always want to use that term, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You can't even comprehend the starting block that most of these folks have.
Well, and nobody has, Joe.
Right.
That nobody in history has ever pulled themselves up by their bootstraps.
It's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
I mean, there are things that you should do in your life. You should have discipline. You should have work ethic. You should strive to your goals. You should be a good person, try to keep your body healthy. You should do all those things. But all this pretending that everybody's starting from the same spot and the reason why you're successful and they're not is that you work harder. That's just foolish.
Yeah.
That is ego and nonsense and a complete lack of perspective. Difficult to procure, right? It's difficult to get someone who's really attractive to like you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the reason why you and I are funny.
Yeah.
Right? Let's be honest. Like, why are most men, why do they have a sense of humor? They have a sense of humor because girls like that. Mm-hmm. It's a big one. Like, you can kind of jump through a lot of hoops. You can skip a lot of steps if you're funny.
Yeah.
If you're a guy and you're funny, because you have to be smart to be funny. So girls are like, oh, he knows how to be funny.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're not funny, but then you're funny, you can make them laugh. They're like, oh, just bring this fucking comedian with me everywhere.
Right.
And I always have my own little show.
Yeah.
And when she likes you because of that, you're like, oh, she likes me because I'm funny. And then I'll get funnier.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll work at this.
Yeah.
I'll be good at this.
Dude, when I was in 6th grade, me and John Yurzak used to do comedy routines for the girls at lunch. We had whole fucking routines, like, you know, like Marx Brothers stuff and Muppet Show shit, like whatever worked. We were up there tap dancing for those girls.
And they liked it.
Vicky Bettman and
so funny,
Linda Ray.
Greg.
They loved it.
You're so funny.
And I remember that feeling back then because I was the skinny little kid with red hair and freckles. No chicks took it. They just cared about the guys that were good at sports. And all of a sudden, like, I'm getting laughs. And I just remember feeling like, this is what I want to do. This is what I need to do.
Yeah, you need people
found
to
it.
like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that, right? It's like when guys see a car, like a brand new Mercedes in a commercial, and there's a girl with long legs and high heels, and she's leaning against the car. You're like, oh my God, does that girl come with the car? If I get the car, will I get her?
Yeah.
I need to get her. It's hard to get one of those. You get a girl with long legs and high heels and beautiful lips, and she's looking at you like she loves you. That's so difficult to find. It's so difficult to get. Most of the time, those girls, they walk right by you, like you don't even exist. But look at that. If I get that watch, there's a girl staring at that watch. She loves that watch. Gotta get that watch.
Yeah.
And that's like what's used to sell most things. Like, how many things in America, in particular, are sold by attractive women?
Yeah.
Attractive women in ads, attractive women like that we associate. If you get this Lamborghini, attractive women will be more drawn to you because it's difficult to get a Lamborghini.
Right.
This guy can get a Lamborghini. That means he's got $300,000 to throw on a stupid car that's probably going to break down.
Yeah. John Hamm doing those car ads. Women fucking, they want to get in that car with John Hamm. Matthew McConaughey. Look at him.
Look at him.
Look at that house he lives in. I
Look
could
at
be
him.
in that house.
I just need to. If I meet him, he'll love me.
I would put a couch over there, though. There's not enough shrubbery inside the house.
Gotta fix it.
Kind of a modern painting.
It just needs a woman's touch.
Then he has sex with you, and he's like, I gotta go.
But I thought
But it's your house.
we are forever.
Yeah.
The ultimate biological trick. If they've ever, that's what's going to be really weird. Like, if you look at aliens, right? What's the iconic alien? They have the big heads. They have these little boy-like bodies.
Long
with
fingers.
No dicks.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Right.
Because that's probably what happens in the future.
Yeah.
In the future, we all figure out, listen, we are being tricked left and right by our dicks and our vaginas, and our sex hormones are talking us into nonsense when we could just be enlightened.
Yeah.
And we could travel the galaxy together. But we got to get past all this sex stuff, this biological sex stuff. And you could have an orgasm in your own brain here with this new phone, iPhone 72.
Yeah.
And just press the button and then get that out of your system. Good. Now we don't need sex anymore.
Yeah.
And we don't need our mouths either. We need to talk with our brains. Just, big giant head with a tiny slit for a mouth.
Mm-hmm. It's like, remember that Woody Allen movie, Sleepers, and they have the orgasmatron?
Oh, yeah.
And you just pass it around, and then you have an orgasm, and then you move on. That was it.
You think about how much work is involved in trying to get an orgasm. Like, how much energy people spend. And then the seduction, right? You meet someone at a bar. Can I buy you a drink? Okay. Want me to light that cigarette? Can't do that anymore. But that was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like light the girl's cigarette, buy a drink. Oh, he's so charming. Oh. Thinking, maybe.
Dance.
Let this guy.
A mating dance.
Let's dance.
Watch me shake my hips. I'm going to look
Does
you
he
in the
know how
eye.
to dance? A guy who doesn't know how to dance probably sucks in bed.
Yeah. That guy can fucking dance.
Look at him dance. Maybe I'll let him shoot one in me. Make a baby. It's time to breed. I'm going to breed with a conqueror. A man who could dance, who knows how to light a cigarette.
He could kill somebody for me. He's big.
He's big, and he knows how to think. He knows that we got to get out of here. Trouble's brewing. He's a protector. Oh, I'm going to get in his nice car. He can drive fast. He lives on the top of the hill. Ooh, he's got a good spot where we can see the enemies coming from a long way.
That's right.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
So weird. People, I mean, that's our business is like getting people to like us, right? That's a big part of what our business is. Our business is like saying funny shit so people like us.
Yeah.
And other people do different things. Like some girls, they just work on their squats.
Yeah.
You know, just go to the gym a lot so that people like them more. That
Yeah.
ass sticks out more, get more attention.
All right.
You know, some people are just funny. Some people, they acquire things. Some people acquire power, respect, influence.
Yeah, I watched this nature special on what are those animals that hang upside down in Australia?
Bats?
No, they're like furry. They're furry and cute.
Wallabies? No, they bounce around.
I forget what they're called, but
Wombats?
no, they've got them. They got him here too, I think. But anyway, this motherfucker is on one side of the river, and he can hear a mating call from the other side of the river, and he's slow as shit.
A sloth?
A sloth. So this sloth hears the female sloth, and and I don't know where they get these cameras from, but they watch this guy go down the tree, across a limb, into the water, can't swim for shit. There's fucking rapids. He makes his way across. I was like, well, because he can hear that.
Yeah.
Gets across, climbs on. It takes like 2 days. And then he finds this other sloth, and he climbs on top of her, couple shakes of the hip, done. Oh, who's this bitch?
But now he can think. Now the poor little guy can think.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, she wants to eat my fruit. Fuck out of here. It's my fruit, bitch. Do you do any training on machines, or is all your training essentially done on the road?
The running is all pretty much done on the road and the trails. I'll do like some mobility work and some strength work in the gym, and that's where I'll kind of go inside, I guess, for it. But yeah, I've used treadmills and stuff in the past, and I do use them from time to time. But usually, if I have the option to go outside, I'll do that. And I mean, I live in Phoenix, so it's it's sunny
Cold
most
day
days.
is 70.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm there
yeah.
this weekend, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're at the Comerica?
Comerica Theater.
Nice.
Yeah, Friday and Saturday. I'm psyched.
Yeah.
I love Phoenix.
Yeah, it's the time of year to be there for sure.
Yeah, man. Right? What's the temperature there right now?
Probably maybe 65 or so.
I've been there before in the summer. In July when I used to
Yeah.
do Tempe Improv, and it was like fucking 120.
Well, and that's the funny thing too, because when I was training for that 100-mile 12-hour world record, it was through the summer because the race was in August. So my peak training was like 110 degrees some days. And the funny thing too is the Pettit Center where I did the race, it was actually built for speed skating and some hockey rinks. So they keep it at like 60 degrees.
Ooh, that's
and
nice.
I remember one day when I was running, it was like one of the hottest days of the summer. I remember thinking like, I'm going to race literally at half this temperature.
Yeah.
So it's really funny when you see that, and I think I'm no expert at it by any means, but I think there's some pretty cool like studies and stuff that of the effects that happen when you are training in some of those extreme heats. Like what happens, for the way it was described to me, is it kind of simulates training at altitude to a degree. So who knows? Maybe
That
some
makes
of that helps.
sense. Well, it's similar to hot yoga, right? Mm-hmm. They're doing some studies at Harvard, I believe. I think it's Harvard. Someone was explaining the whole deal to me. This is not something that I read, but essentially what they're doing is they're trying to find out whether or not hot yoga, these 90-minute hot yoga sessions, replicate some of the known benefits of sauna. Because, obviously the temperature is not as hot. They keep it. The hot yoga place I go to, I think they keep it at 105 degrees versus sauna, gets much, much hotter than that. You're in like the 180s, which what I like. But the idea is that when your body is extremely stressed, when you're doing these poses and you're sweating like crazy, that your body core temperature rises basically to a similar level than if you were just sitting in a sauna. So you get a very similar response.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. So I try to remember that when it's the summer in Phoenix, so I don't get too miserable.
You're bummed out by it. Yeah, you got to be doing yourself good. Kronk Gym, which is one of the most famous boxing gyms in history. Emmanuel Stewart, who was just a wizard of boxing, and he trained Tommy Hearns and some of the all-time greats of that era. He would crank the temperature, and this is in Detroit. They would crank the temperature up really hot, so you would go into that gym and it would be that way, like for that specific reason, because he believed that it increased endurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting stuff, but I'll still take January and February
for comfort. Now, what do you do in terms of like how do you hydrate yourself, and like what kind of durations are we talking about? Like, say if it's 110 degrees outside, 120. What was the hottest you ran at?
I think 110 is what I got up to, and I try to get out relatively early so that it's not like 110 from start to finish. So like if I get out, say at like 6 or 7 in the morning, it might be in the 80s, high 80s, and be working its way up so that like I'm finishing and it might be 110. For my key workouts, the way I structure my training usually when I'm kind of in peak is I'll do my biggest workout in the morning, and then I might go out and do like a second run that's like a little shorter or quite a bit shorter in most cases and really low intensity. And, then sometimes if it's the afternoon in Phoenix, that's when I would see like that 110, but I'm usually not out for more than like 45, 60 minutes for those. So hydrating is interesting because, I grew up in the Midwest, so I was very familiar with running in hot, humid stuff in the summer. And, the dry desert heat, though, it seems like you get thirsty a lot quicker and a lot more frequently. So one of the things I learned the first summer I was in Phoenix was knowing where the water fountains are and kind of planning your routes around that.
You drink out of public water fountains?
When I have to.
Do you worry about cooties?
I haven't gotten anything too miserable yet. In fact, I did a race earlier this year, I think it was in early June, called the San Diego 100. And it's got this spot in the middle of the course where the aid stations are a little further apart. There's like a 9-mile stretch and a 7-mile stretch. And I kind of mistimed how much water I did, so I filled up my water in a stream, and it was probably not an ideal spot.
Dude.
But I rolled the dice, and I didn't get anything bad. No, my thought during the race was, this is the mindset in the middle of one of these things, is like, well, if something really bad happens, it'll happen after the race. So I'll
definitely would, but it's really bad. Yeah. Giardia is rough. I've never had it, but the people that I know that have had it say it's really bad. But, you could just bring a SteriPen.
Yeah.
But you can't really stop, huh?
Yeah, I mean, in a race, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
And what really helped for me was the situation is since the race was on an indoor track, 400 and like I think 42 and some odd meters, I was doing a lot of my big long runs on a 400-meter track.
Oh, okay.
So when I did that, I would just bring out like a cooler, and I'd have ice and water in there.
Just have it sit there waiting for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, that makes sense. But when you do a lot of trail running, though, right?
I do some of that too. Yeah. Historically, I've done a lot more flat, runnable stuff. But now that I'm out in Phoenix, I like to try to split the year into 2 halves and do some trail stuff in half the year, and then some like flatter road or track or runnable stuff in the second half of the year.
Do you bring water when you run trails? Do you bring like a backpack or something like that? Like one of those, what are those
like
things?
A pack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With the tubes.
Yep.
What the fuck is that? Camelbacks.
Yeah, I don't usually use what they call like the bladder, which is the tube thing that you're talking about.
Those are nice though.
They are, and you can pack a lot of water.
Yeah.
Usually, unless I'm going to be away from a potential stop long enough, usually what I'll do is I'll use the pack, but I'll have like smaller little like little flasks, soft flasks in there.
Oh, okay. So you bring those two that you like on the chest straps. I see a lot of people when they run with those. But you're rolling the dice with that. Like you got to know how much to sip.
Yeah,
you don't want to get greedy.
The pickup spots are for more. Run with friends.
Yeah. When I run with my dog in the summer, when it gets really hot, I bring a Hydro flask in a backpack, and I'm one of those collapsible dog bowls because I don't want him drinking out of puddles and shit.
Right.
And so. But that just having that extra couple pounds on your back, it makes a difference. You feel it.
Yeah, and that's why part of the reason why I try to go as minimal as I can with water if I can get away with it. Obviously, if I go out and do like a big loop where there's no potential stops, I'm going to have to carry it all from the beginning. But if it's a spot where I know like I can get to water every 5, 6, 7 miles, then usually I'll pack a little lighter and not be carrying as much at any one given time.
Do you hydrate up before you go?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the hardest things to really get right in Phoenix was just like kind of learning kind of how much you need to be hydrating like between sessions, because what I usually found out is I could go out and kind of neglect hydration for any one given like run or workout, but if I did that, then the next one I would probably pay for it. So for me, the big motivation to make sure I'm on top of hydration during any given run is because I know like if I don't, then the next one is going to potentially be miserable.
Yeah, man, I've done that before. That's a weird feeling trying to do anything when you're dehydrated. It's like you have a bad battery or something.
Yeah.
It's like everything's like, oh, come on. It's amazing how just normal everyday life, like you could feel like a little rundown and you barely notice it. But once you start physically exerting, once you start training, once you start doing something hard, that's when you become like really in tune with how you're screwing your body up. Like drinking, for instance. Like have a couple of drinks and then run. Like, oh God. You're like, well, this is what it's doing to my body?
Yeah.
I got to fucking stop drinking, you know?
Yeah. I think I like drinking to thirst. That's usually what my gauge is, and I haven't really had any issues with that.
So there's no like strategy, like say I'm going to run 25 miles today. Let me drink X amount of liters of water before I go out.
No, before the run. Yeah, no, I try not to like do too much like kind of like preemptive hydrating, because I think what people oftentimes I think do then is they drink too much, and then that comes at the expense of your electrolytes too, because your body's going to excrete those. So if I find myself,
couldn't you just supplement?
You can, yeah, and I'll do a lot more of that, especially in the heat too. Just in general, is like having like electrolyte supplementation and things like that.
What do you use for your electrolyte supplementation?
I use a product called Hydro X mostly. It's like a powder that you can kind of mix in with your water by a company named X Endurance. They make these little tubes now too, where like, so if I'm running and I have like one bottle with some in it already, I can have these little like these little tubes that if I refill and want to put more in, I can just kind of take them out, pop it off, and pour that in. A lot of other people will use, you can make like little caps that you just like swallow it with your water, and it's got like the formulation of the different electrolytes in there kind of dialed in. And I think that's a little more hit or miss as to like where people feel you need that. Some people tell you don't really need electrolytes at all. You just need to salt your foods and things like that, all the way to like you should be taking X number of these every hour.
Well, there's got to be science behind it, right? I mean, are you getting blood tests and finding out what your levels are pre and post workouts or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I haven't done any like post workout tests to say, other than I was part of the FASTER study, which was a study that looked at high carb and high fat athletes, and I think they were looking at some of that stuff too. And like anytime I've ever had a blood test done though, by like my electrolytes, like my sodium, potassium levels, have always been in range. So I haven't really tried to. It's one of those things then where it's like I'm probably not going to try to fix something that's not broken.
And in our studies, we're recovering eyesight.
Really?
Yeah.
What about to damaged eyes?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't want to freak out.
Because I know a guy who's got a significantly damaged eye from fighting.
Well, I can tell you what we've done. And this is work we're writing up for publication now. We've done a few things, 3 things to the mice. One is we've pinched their optic nerve and crushed it, which is a test for growing neurons in the eye. And we find that with our reprogramming, we can make the nerves be just like a newborn baby. They grow back. And then we also tested on glaucoma, pressure in the eye. We increase pressure in the mouse's eye and they lose largely their eyesight, and we can recover that. And then we also test old mice that don't see very well, and we also seem to improve their eyesight almost back to normal. So what I don't think we'll be going to nursing homes anytime soon, but what we are doing is running a clinical trial on this. And so we're looking to do that in early 2020.
And the clinical trial will be on people with glaucoma or various eye issues?
The plan is glaucoma first, but it could work for other damaged retinas as well. Even broken spinal cords we're thinking of trying.
Wow.
And that's just one part of the body. Imagine what it could potentially do to the rest of us.
Do you feel incredibly fortunate to be living in this century?
I do every day, but I would love to live next century because it's going to be even cooler.
Yeah, but you're what's cool is you're kind of at the tip of the spear pushing this stuff right now. Like you're going to be one of the guys that gets to see this stuff get implemented from your actual own research where it didn't exist before.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn cool. Better than like living 100 years from now where you just take it for granted like a trust fund kid. You know?
Yeah, but just imagine what you can do in 100 years. You can
right. Well, maybe you'll be here.
Where? Oh, on the Earth?
Yeah, you might be 150.
We'll see. I think there's a chance someone will be.
Well, it's a good chance you're going to be. I mean, you're the one who's going to know.
Well, so here's my philosophy. I'm not going to let anyone try technology until I've tried it first.
Really?
Yeah. So I was taking NMN.
Pregnant pause because you're currently doing something like that?
I'm not doing the reprogramming yet. That's a little dangerous. But the others I've always wanted to know first.
My eyesight is starting to go because I'm 51 now, and like when if I had to read this book, I got Nick Christakis' book. If I'm sitting here reading this book, if I don't have reading glasses on, I got to do this. It's a bit of a struggle. Going to be able to fix that?
So potentially in the mice we can.
You can.
We don't give them books to read, but their eyesight improves. We can test that.
How do you do it?
There's a moving screen.
No, I don't mean how do you how do you know, how do you test, or not how do you test rather, how do you improve their eyesight?
We've put these reprogramming genes into a virus, which is already used to treat genetic diseases in the eye, and we inject it straight into the mouse's eyeball.
This sounds like the beginning of a horror movie.
Yeah, I think it's actually...
or an awesome movie.
It's the awesome part that I'm
so?
focused on. Well, if you're going blind,
right,
one injection from your doctor, and then you take an antibiotic to turn the genes on for as long as you need, and you get your eyesight back, that's not horrific at all.
That's pretty incredible. How far away do you think you are of doing that to humans?
Well, 2020 will be the first safety study, we hope.
Wow.
Yeah, but the crazy stuff, the future is, if this all goes well, you have an injection in your vein, let's say when you're 30, and then those viruses infect your body, and they sit there dormant until you need them. So when might you need them? You might have a car accident, turn them on. You can turn them on with just an antibiotic in a drip or in a pill. Or you start to lose your eyesight, take an antibiotic.
So you put them in your body almost as an insurance policy, and then you have the option to turn them on in the future.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's what we do in the mice.
Now, with every action, we assume there's some negative consequence or potentially negative consequence, right?
We always assume that, but it's not always right.
Mm.
So with the molecules that we've been testing for years now, like NMN, we haven't seen any downside, just longer endurance and protection. So there isn't always a downside to these things. In fact, if you just think NMN is replacing a molecule that we lose over time as we get older, it's just becoming, it's a fairly natural process. No downside exercising and dieting either.
When you sat down was absolutely perfect. That the timing could not have been better. Well, tell everybody what you do, Michael.
Well, thank you. I'm, for lack of a better term, a medical detective. I've spent my whole career tracking infectious diseases down, trying to stop them, trying to understand where they come from so we can make sure they don't happen in the first place, but most of all, trying to respond to situations just like this.
Just like this. And just off the bat, how serious is this? Is this something that we need to be terrified of, or is this overblown, or how do you stand on this?
Well, first of all, you have to understand the timing of it in the sense that it's just beginning. And so in terms of what hurt, pain, suffering, death has happened so far is really just beginning. This is going to unfold for months to come yet, and that's, I think, what people don't quite yet understand. What we saw in China, I'm convinced, as are many of my colleagues, as soon as they release all of these social distances, these mandated stay in homes, haven't left your home in weeks and weeks kind of thing, when they go back to work, they're on planes, trains, subways, buses, crowded spaces, manufacturing plants. Even China is going to come back again. And so this really is acting like an influenza virus, something that transmits very, very easily through the air. We now have data to show that you're infectious before you even get sick. And in some cases, quite highly infectious. Just breathing is all that you need to do. So from this perspective, I can understand why people would say, well, wait a minute, flu kills a lot more itself every year than this does. And I remind people this just was beginning. probably the best guesstimate we have right now on what limited data we have would say this is going to be at least 10 to 15 times worse than the worst seasonal flu year we see.
10 to 15 times worse in terms of fatalities?
Yeah, and just illness. In fact, I brought some numbers. We conservatively estimate that this could require 48 million hospitalizations, 96 million cases actually occurring, over 480,000 deaths that can occur over the next 3 to 7 months with this situation. So this is not one that to take lightly. And I think that's what I can understand if you say there's only been 10 deaths or 20 deaths or 50 deaths. Just remember, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about almost no cases in the United States. And now that we're testing for it and watching the spread as it's unfolding, those numbers are going up astronomically. 3 weeks ago, Italy was just living life just fine. Now they're literally in a virtual shutdown in the northern parts of Italy. And that's the challenge with an infectious disease like this. It can spread very quickly, and it also can affect people. I think maybe to put this into modern terms, because this is something we think of often when we think of pre-antibiotic days, the old-time medicine. We have an employee at our Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, and she has a dear friend who lives in Milan, Italy, and she works at a hospital there. And she texted this to this employee of ours last night. And this was an email that came out yesterday from one of their physicians in Milan at the largest hospital there. And he said, I just got a very disturbing message from a cardiologist at one of the Milan's largest hospitals. They're deciding who they have to let die. They aren't screening the staff anymore because they need all hands on deck, and they have very small areas of the hospital dedicated to non-COVID patients where they still screen doctors. Everybody else is dedicated to COVID patients, so even if they're positive, meaning that they're sick, but they don't have a severe cough or fever, then they have to work. He says that they're seeing an alarming number of cases in the 40-something age range, and these are horrible cases. So we need to stop thinking that this is only an old person's disease. This is what's going to unfold, not just in Wuhan, it's unfolding in Milan, it's unfolding here in Seattle, and this is what's going to continue to rollingly unfold throughout the world.
Yeah, where did this rumor come from that it's an old person's disease? Is it just because the majority of the people that have died from it so far have been older?
Yes. In fact, that's the primary risk factor for dying is being old and then having certain underlying health problems. For example, in China, those men over the age of 70 who also smoked, 8 to 10% of them died. 65% of older Chinese men smoke. The case fatality rate, or the percentage of people who die in women in that same age group, is only about 2%. In that case, very few women smoke. Now, the challenge we have is that that's the Chinese data. But there are a series of risk factors that we worry about that if they overlay on this disease are going to cause bad outcomes. And we happen to be right at ground zero for one of the major ones here in this country, and that's obesity. We know that obesity is just like smoking in terms of its ability to really cause severe life-threatening disease, and 45% of our population today over the age of 45 in this country are obese or severely obese, and there's men and women. So one of the concerns we have is we're going to see more of these, what I guess I would call very serious and life-threatening cases occur in our country because of a different set of risk factors than we saw in China.
Now, you mentioned that there's some sort of an incubation period before people become sick, they're still contagious. What is this incubation period, and how do we know about it?
When we call something an incubation period, we're talking about from the time you and I got exposed, meaning I was in a room breathing the air that somebody else who was infected with the virus was expelling out, I breathed it in. How long from that time period till the time period that you get sick? And what is that? That's what we call the incubation period. So that's when case numbers can double or triple in every so many days. In this case, it's about 4 days. And we actually have data there from people who were exposed one time or one time only. And we know when they were exposed, where they were exposed, and how soon do they get sick afterwards. So the chauffeur in the car where an individual was sick or showing symptoms, then the chauffeur gets it 4 days later. They were there one time and one time only.
And if the chauffeur does not show any symptoms, he's still contagious. He
could also be contagious too, and that's one of the things that's challenging here is you and I might get exposed to somebody who is totally asymptomatic, no symptoms. That virus would appear, well, that's not a very strong virus. But in fact, when it infects us, it could kill us. So we've seen cases of fatal disease that were exposed to people that had minor symptoms themselves.
Wow.
And this is what's unfolding here. And this is where I think is such an important, and I said why the timing is so important, because, Joe, we really have got to get information out to the public. There is so much misinformation right now. And, we're going to be in this for a while. This is not going to happen overnight. And I worry, I keep telling people we're handling this like it's a corona blizzard, 2 or 3 days, we're back to normal. This is a coronavirus winter. And we're going to have the next 3 months or more, 6 months or more, that are going to be like this. And, so far this thing has been unfolding exactly as we predicted it. We, in our center, put out a piece on January 20th and said this is going to spread worldwide. At the time, people said, no, it's just China. We put out a piece the first week of February and said this is going to pop probably the last week of February, first week of March, because what happens is it has what's called an R0, or a doubling time of these every 4 days. So the increase is doubling every 4 days. So if you go from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, it takes a while to build up. But when you start going from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 4,000, that's what we're seeing happen in places like Italy. We're beginning to see it in some ways up in Seattle. It's what happened in China. And, when people are confronted with that, suddenly this low-risk phenomena that everybody talks about isn't so low anymore. And that's what we need to prepare people for.
Now, what can be done? Like, what can the average person do? I see people walking around with masks on, wearing gloves. Is that nonsense?
Largely, yes.
Yeah.
First of all, let's step back. The primary mechanism for transmission is just the respiratory route. It's just breathing. In studies in Germany, which just have been published literally in the last 24 hours, they actually followed a group of people who had been exposed to somebody in an automobile manufacturing plant. And then they had 9 people that, with this exposure, he said, if you have any symptoms at all, contact us. We want to follow up. And they all agreed. Well, they got infected. And so in the very first hours, just feeling bad, sore throat, they went in and sampled their throats, their saliva, their nose for virus. They did blood, they did stool, they did urine. And they found that at that very moment, when they first got sick, they had incredibly high levels of virus, sometimes 10,000 times that we saw with SARS, in their throats, meaning they were infectious at that point already, and they hadn't even had symptoms yet of really any nature. They weren't coughing yet.
Wow.
And that's where we're concerned, because that's the kind of transmission. It's, I always have said, trying to stop influenza virus transmission like trying to stop the wind. We've never had anything successfully do that other than vaccine, and we don't have a vaccine here. So what's happening is that people in public spaces are getting infected. And the way you need to address that is, unfortunately, if you're older, over 55, you have some underlying health problems, which unfortunately a lot of Americans do. We have obesity. Then right now you don't want to be in large public spaces. You're trying to potentially get infected. So you can take care of that part. As far as what can public health do, we can talk about this. We're not going to have a vaccine anytime soon. That's happy talk. We can close schools. One of the big challenges we have right now, if we close schools, what do we accomplish? In influenza virus, when we close schools during outbreaks, because it turns out kids get infected in school, and they're like little virus reactors. They come home and they transmit it to mom and dad and brothers and sisters. And so we close schools sometimes. Christmas breaks are always great for kind of putting the dampening effect on flu. In this case, kids are not getting sick very often at all, which is one of the really good news features of this disease. In China, only 2.1% of the cases were under 19 years of age. And,
why is that?
We don't completely know. And I'm going to come to that in a second, because they're getting infected, it turns out. One study showed that they still get infected with the virus, but they don't get sick. And we have that happen. There's a disease called infectious hepatitis A, where we have outbreaks in daycares. And the way we know we have an outbreak is because it's transmitted through the stool, fecal oral, is mom and dad and the daycare providers all get sick. And the kids, those symptoms, we go in and test the kids, they're all positive. So some diseases will manifest primarily when you're an adult, but not as a child. This one appears to be the same. So do we close schools or not, if we're not really spreading the disease? Because it turns out that if we close schools, a recent study done showed that 38% of nurses today in this country who are working in the medical care area have kids in school. And if suddenly we're closing schools for 2 or 3 months, who's going to take care of those kids? 1/4 of the American population has no sick leave. If we close schools, they don't get paid if they have to stay home. So when you ask what can we do, we have to really be thoughtful about what we do. Are we doing more harm than good by closing schools, for example, even though everybody will say, we got to do everything we can? Or do we just tell people, it's going to be limiting your contact as much as you can, and that's really about what we can do.
And limiting the contact, is that really going to help?
It does, because it's like putting rods in a reaction. If you don't have as much close contact, you can not transmit as much. If I'm sitting in a room with 100 people and we're kind of sharing air, the transmission's remarkable. Right here off the coast of California, you've got your cruise ship. Cruise ships are notorious for recirculating air inside the inner cabins. We've had a number of outbreaks.
That's why they're having these outbreaks on cruise ships?
And then you leave them on there. I think the cruelest human experiment we've done in a long time with humans is leave them on these ships. Get them off right away.
Should they get them off right away?
Oh, absolutely.
And what should they do with them?
Well, they can put them in quarantines of some kind if they want and follow up on them. But you're guaranteed they're all going to keep getting infected day after day.
It seems like we're not really prepared for something like this, although the CDC's been telling us for a long time that we should be.
We are not prepared at all in the sense, I wrote the book, Deadliest Enemies, that was published in 2017.
Right
Thank
here,
you.
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Go get it.
No,
Read it.
And
Panic.
In chapter 13, the title of the chapter was SARS and MERS, a harbinger of things to come. We predicted this. And then I wrote a chapter on there what a flu pandemic would look like if it emerged in China. And if you read it, it's exactly what's happened. The supply chains went down. China locked down the country. It spread to other countries. People all pointed fingers. And, it's the kind of thing where we hear it, but we don't get prepared. 5 years ago, I gave a talk at the Mayo Clinic. First time I talked about this, I talked many times afterwards, and I showed a slide of Puerto Rico, a picture of Puerto Rico, and then I showed the map, and then I showed a picture of a building in Puerto Rico, a nondescript building, and I said, this is our next big disaster. It turns out that 85% of all the world's production of IV bags, the saline that we need desperately, were made in these plants in Puerto Rico. And all we needed was one Category 5 hurricane to come through and take it out. Maria came through a year and a half ago, and the world went into a major crisis with a shortage of IV bags. Now, that was so obvious that was going to happen, and yet we don't prepare.
That's so foolish.
I know, I agree. And that's what, hopefully this is a wake-up call. The business community, I hopefully will wake up. One of the other things we're doing right now, Joe, this is really one of the things that has me most concerned about this whole situation is our group has been studying for the last year and a half with support from the Walton Family Foundation, looking at critical drug shortages. It turns out that we identified 153 drugs in this country that people need right now or they die. I mean, it's on the crash card. It's acute critical drugs. 100% of them are generic. All of them basically are made offshore of the United States. And a large part of them are made in China and India. And at this point, we have shortages anyway every day, just before this crisis happened. Now these supply chains have gone down. Our group is actively helping the United States government try to figure out, where they're going to get these drugs. Now, just think of this. If I came to you and said the Defense Department was going to outsource all its munitions production to China, you'd look at me and say, come on. You know what? The U.S. Defense Department has no more access to these drugs than anybody else. They are beholden to China for these drugs. 690,000 Americans have end-stage renal disease right now. Most of their primary drugs are coming from China. And now with the shutdown and what's happening with this, and this is what I talked about in the book, why I was so concerned, because we are at risk. So even this situation as it unfolds, it's not just about what the virus does to you. It's about what the entire system is rigged up to be and what this virus does once it gets into it.
Jesus. You're making me nervous.
Well, but that's before we get done here. We're going to talk about what we can do to get people not nervous, because this is
It's too late.
No. What I mean is we're going to bring you around to take. It's my job is not to scare you out of your wits. It's to scare you into your wits.
I think that people don't realize that a lot of stress, a lot of aggression. It's like aggression actually is like paired with stress usually. You know what I mean? It's hard to be super aggressive without a little bit of like adrenaline pumping and stress and all these things. And the truth is like there's so much of the training. If you're actually training this stuff, what you're training yourself to do is be calm. And that's like totally counterintuitive because people think, no, you got to go in there like Rocky and want to win. And it's like, well, in a fighting in a competition, sure, on some level, but really, really, really great people, kind of in any sport. But it's even more counterintuitive in fighting is you need to cultivate calm.
Yes.
And the ability to be clinical and think calmly, control your breathing, because like you get exhausted if you can't control your breathing. And the truth is that those are life skills that are actually they cultivate a very calm. It helps you cultivate calm in life. And the thing I always really liked about Aikido is that there aren't attacks in it. It was developed by a guy, Morihei Yoshiba, who was an all-round Bujutsu master. He was like in Jiu-Jitsu, Kendo, karate, all these things, and he developed Aikido because he had joined the global pacifist movement. He was like one of the most respected like cross-form Japanese martial artists, and he joined the same movement for pacifism that Gandhi was a part of in like the 20s, and he believed that martial arts could contribute to pacifism if they refined, and Aikido was a refinement of Kendo, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, and he basically said, I'm going to develop a non-aggressive martial art that has no attacks, and there's an uke in it, like for the thing, but it's only a defensive, and it's like that phrase we all hear, redirection of energy, the conversion of negative energy into neutral. That is really his contribution. He was like, you can take the most aggressive energy and you can neutralize it. And you can neutralize it very peacefully, or you can neutralize it with a little more teeth in it, depending on how aggressive the person's being. But I loved that. I thought that was amazing because it was like, I wasn't like looking to be in fight, but I loved the idea that you had that you could have control and you could like neutralize. And I think there's something kind of amazing in that. I think it's like actually aligns with like yoga, with meditation, with all things, surfing. I mean, that's what surfing is. It's like there's all this energy coming at you, like, and it's gonna like put you into the rocks or rock you or flip you over or hurt you, but you don't let that happen. You look at it, you look at a million waves, you figure out how to move yourself, you get in there, and you get the exact opposite of getting torched. You get like the best thing ever, right? And I think things like that are where you have to, those are like Zen, you know what I mean? And I think like jiu-jitsu, what you're saying is really ultimately like why he was great is he had like the deepest Zen of anybody in the whole thing, because he was the calmest. And he had like the micro understanding of forms, but really like it's something deeper. It's like it's like Neo in the Matrix. He's like seeing it with more granularity.
Yeah, he had everything. He had the full package of it.
Yeah. All right. DJ Melody in the house. Yeah. Joe Rogan Experience. Everlast. Come on. new sneakers and a fat gold chain. We do the good cocaine, and we don't feel no pain. No, we don't complain. Yeah. Woo!